Hi, for today's Thursday video, I know some of you might be expecting Rick today, but Rick was on vacation, and since I'm talking about this idea of more, we just decided that while he was on vacation, would not be shooting the video, that I would go ahead and do it this week. So over the past 3 days, I've talked about the first 3 letters of the word more. The fact that we need to be motivated, the fact that we need to be observant, and the fact that we need to be responsive. And today we get to the last letter, and that is the letter E for being engaged. But to be engaged really comes back to our buzzword for the year, and that word is intentional, right? So, as I've shared many times over the past several months, especially, a major distinction exists between intentions and being intentional. Good intentions become actions when we become intentional. But to be intentional, we need to give a little extra and to go a little farther or further, as the case might be. But intentionality can be infectious. So let me share an example using a favorite snack of many. Now I realize that this bag of popcorn that I hold, it does not have any emotions, it does not have a brain. Some purists would say that, well, microwave popcorn isn't real popcorn. Okay, that's fine, I'll acknowledge that, but just play along with me for just a moment in this game. Because this bag of popcorn is worthless as it is. I mean, I guess I could give it to somebody and get a few, maybe a quarter or something like that. But it's worthless for me from a food perspective. When I put it in the microwave, it is worthless. It still has no value to me from a food perspective. I have good intentions, right? I have good intentions. The popcorn may even have intentions to be eaten. I mean, after all, that's why it exists, is to be eaten, even though it doesn't know that. But when I press the buttons on the microwave and I begin to warm up the kernels, something happens. Nothing at first, but eventually one will pop. And once one pops, another will pop, and another, and then they begin to pop in fairly rapid succession with one another. And after many have popped, then all of a sudden most have popped, and after a couple of minutes or whatever it is, you can sit down and you can have a snack of popcorn by yourself, or probably with one other, or maybe even with 2 or 3 others, depending upon how big a bag of popcorn that you might have. Now again, I realize that there's no such thing as popcorn having emotions. But if we use the idea of popcorn and we put it in the context of the church, once that first bit of corn pops, once it realizes and engages the heat around it, then others join what is happening, and others begin to pop. What about us, church? What if we began to pop when somebody popped? I mean this in a good way. I mean that somebody wants to rise up, somebody wants to do more. They are motivated, they are observant, they are responsive, and they become engaged, and other people begin to see that engagement. And then they get engaged as well. And that triggers another person to get engaged, and another person to get engaged, and another person to get engaged. And you know, one of the problems with popcorn is if you leave the popcorn in too long, if you overcook it, it gets burnt. It's not any good anymore, it smells. We might call that being burned out in the church. But you know what happens when people engage? There's more people to do the work that needs to be done. And as more people do the work that needs to be done, maybe we increase the work, and that can happen, and people can still get burned out. But the more people that are doing, the less individuals might have to do. And then as people do a little bit less, there is less likelihood that people could get burned out. Again, one kernel of popcorn is not really going to influence others, but for the church, one person, and that could be anybody, could be the one, because of their motivation, because of their observation, because of their responsiveness, and because of their engagement, not with just the church, but for God. In serving the King, that is what it can mean to be more. So as one individual chooses to be more, others may choose to be more as well. We must be engaged, because that is what Jesus once. We must engage with Jesus. We must engage with one another in the church and as the church. We must engage in the community around us. This is not a suggestion for me. This is a part of what it means to follow the Great Commandment and to live out the Great Commission. This engagement is obedience. And biblically, as I've shared before, obedience from a biblical perspective is to show faith. So in the coming weeks and months and years ahead, whatever God gives you as a person to do, and whatever he gives us as a body of believers known as Fairfax Baptist Church, let us be engaged. Let us be motivated. Let us look for opportunities. Let us choose to be responsive, and then let us act with engagement to meet those opportunities that come about. As we do, our obedience, our faith will be a light shining in a dark world. It will shine his light in the world around us. To do that, we must be intentional. We must do more. We need to be more. We need to do more. We need to become more. We need to live more. The choice is yours. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. We will do more.